Yo, what is up guys? Boris here coming to you guys with a walkthrough of Invasion Garp, the toughest boss in the entire game right now, the newest invasion. I went ahead and did this on stream when it first was released, and I forgot to upload it. Because I recorded it right before I left for my trip. So someone reminded me that I have to upload it still. So here we go guys, Invasion Garp. Toughest invasion, toughest boss in the game for a lot of different reasons. The boss himself, he's gonna have 10 million HP. So if you don't have a team that can deal 10 million HP, then it's gonna be really difficult just to clear him. But on top of that, he revives and does a lot of other really just annoying things. So I'm gonna explain to you guys that when we get to the boss. For now, this is the first room. The first guy right there, the tank with the shield, you want to take him out right away. You have to hit 3 goods. And if you don't hit him right away, then you might be screwed. That's all I'm gonna say, man. You might not be able to tank that hit. He does a lot of damage, And the rest of the room is pretty easy. And room number 2 is gonna be really easy as well. So I'm gonna take this time right now to explain the team that I'm running. I'm running a double Lucy team. Obviously Lucy very capable of dealing the damage that's required over 2 turns, but Raizo is gonna be the MVP for this map, for this boss. The reason is when Whitebeard, sorry, did I say Whitebeard? When Garp revives, he's going to silence all your blue units. And Sugar is going to be what we're going to use to take him out when he revives. So Raizo is going to allow us to take away the special silence from Sugar, and thus making it capable for us to one-shot him with Sugar's special. Other potential units that are good on this are things like Time Skip Nami and the 5+ Robin, since they are all silence reducers, I believe. So the whole idea behind this boss was that they wanted you to reduce the silence of your characters so that when he revives, you get able to take him out. And other than that, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. You have 2 type boosters and 2 orb boosters. And don't forget that Colosseum Lucy himself does 20% damage cut, so I mean, that unit's way too OP. 20% damage cut, orb boost, and matching orbs. But if you think about it, 20% HP cut on 10 million, that's 2 million damage. His special just alone does 2 million damage. That's pretty crazy. And yes, I know this is a pay-to-win team, guys. I'm sorry, but at the time, this was really the only other team that I had that I could do it with. Maybe now there's some more teams available, but the reason I say that is because one of the things about the boss is that he's going to change his attribute to knowledge. It's going to change it to purple. So what that means is that there's a certain unit that just came out, a certain legend that was just recently released, and a whole batch that was just recently released that was sort of made specifically for this raid. I'll talk about this later, but I don't, you know, a little bit pay to win there. Bandai's been showing a little bit too much more pay to win, you know, in their game recently that I'm not really a big fan of, but I'll talk about that later because right now we're in the 3rd stage, Onigumo. Onigumo, he's going to lock your chain at, I believe it's 1.5 for a few turns. He'll also steal a unit for 5 turns, and he's going to prevent you from delaying. Nothing too crazy in this room. Just make sure to take out Onigumo because when he does attack, he'll attack twice. But nothing too crazy there. And yeah, the rest of the room is pretty tough. The dungeon itself doesn't really get difficult until room 4 because the mini boss there does something annoying. But the first 3 stages, as long as you take out the cannoneer in the first room, just stall. Thankfully, Raizo books had just came out like a day or 2 before, or I just maxed him like a day or 2 before the dungeon, so my Raizo is maxed, ready to go, no need to stall for him. And here we go, Momonga guys, do not get Momonga below 50. If you get Momonga below 50, he's going to lock your ship. Definitely don't want him to do that because it's going to be ripped for most of the teams. Here's a 30% HP cut when you enter the room, and you want to try to leave the room with about 19,000 HP because Garp will attack for 19,000 every single turn. You're going to want to take a hit, so make sure to have 19,000 HP. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that I'm going to pop Lucy special here because that means I can hit 4 perfects, have a ×2 attack boost in the Garp room, then pop my other Lucy special, have a 2x attack boost again, and so then that will allow me to deal the damage necessary to deal, you know, with the whole 10 million HP. I did have some good orbs here though, so if you don't want to risk it, you know, you can maybe attack 1 or 2 of the blue units and then try to go for the thing because you do have to hit 4 perfects. So maybe you go a little bit overboard, but you know, I had good orbs here. Overall, this was a pretty good run. I'm not gonna lie, I had some pretty good RNG here. So the orbs were pretty nice to me this run. And as you can see, it's not that bad. I think Momonga only has about 500,000 HP. So you should be able to... I think even without orbs, you can probably one-shot this room with Lucy. And here we go, guys. The boss himself. Here is Garp. 10 million HP. He's going to put up a defense reduce disabler, so you cannot lower his defense. I don't know if he even has defense though. And I guess that's just so that you can't use conditional boosts that lower defense, that are based on lowering defense. And then, like I said, now we have the ×2 attack boost going into this room. Do not, you want to pop Colosseum Lucy first, because Doflamingo obviously does not have the HP cut. Lucy has the HP cut. So you want to pop Colosseum Lucy, get that 2 million damage from his HP cut. That's a pretty ridiculous. I still can't believe that's a special. And now we need to deal 8 million over 2 turns. Very doable with this team as long as you hit your perfects. Yeah, make sure to pop your Lucy so you get a ×2 boost in the next room and the next turn. And yeah, just hit your perfects. You should be able to do it. And I mean, there's not much to it. Now in the next turn, obviously you're gonna want a little bit of orb luck. It's not necessary. I think we did like 4.8 there with the 2 million. That's around 6 million. We did over 6 million. So on this turn we just have to deal over 3 million. Again, Dofi. Now you have a 2x orb boost. So I think I think you should be okay with your 3 matching orbs. But I don't know. My Colosseum Lucy is max limit broken though, so that's a lot of stats there. Yeah, I think 3 matching orbs is probably gonna be enough. So Garp, here's the thing about him, guys. When he revives, he's gonna deal 30% damage. He's going to make sure that all your blue units get silenced, which is aka it's just a counter sugar. So it forces you to bring Raizo. Raizo is gonna use a special to take away the silence from sugar, and yeah, there's not that much. Oh, it's actually an 80% HP cut. Sorry guys, he's gonna do an 80% HP cut. Also gonna cancel out any special effects and numb everyone for 3 turns. So there's that. On top of that, he has a shield as well, so he has a shield up, and just sugar. If you don't have sugar, I mean, if you're not using the sugar strategy, it's a lot more difficult. But the funny thing about this is though that Garp himself, he's the best counter to Garp. I'll explain that why in a second. But again, if you could bring it like so other strategies, you could bring like damage reducers and tank the first 2 hits. But again, he does an 80% HP cut, and then on the third turn, he's gonna start dealing 500,000 damage. So 500,000, you're not tanking that. And with that said, let me explain to you why Garp is the best counter. Obviously, as you saw there, we needed to bring Raizo to use sugar. Garp, he's a 30% HP cut, which is crazy. But if the opponent is below 25%, it's an insta kill. So it's a sugar that works at up to 25%, so even better than sugar. And it's also a 30% HP cut if they're not, if they're above that. So it's really OP. This is one of the most OP units in the game, and you can bring him into the invasion Garp boss. So once you unlock him and you max him, it unlocks a lot of teams because you can bring him into the raid. You can you don't need to bring Raizo because he's a red unit, so his specials aren't silenced when he revives, which is really nice. So bring him, max him, and then you can start using Gear 4 teams. You can start using a lot of more. It opens up the door for possibilities. Any team that does 10 million damage with Garp on the team, now you can just Garp when he revives. And as to why I'm not a big fan of this invasion, like I was saying earlier, the fact that they made Judge, the Vince Smoke Judge team, the obvious best team for this raid, it kind of sucks. And they've been doing a lot of things like that recently that are very geared towards super pay to win. Not a big fan of it. I remember the old days where you could clear it with you could clear all the new content with a lot of different teams. But hey, that's just my, I could do a whole rant on this in a different video. I want to see what you guys have to say about it. But overall, those are my thoughts on this raid. Definitely the hardest dungeon in the game. Don't feel bad if you can't clear it. I'll leave you guys with a funny clip, and until then, peace. Alright, first Garp run right here, guys. I'm gonna take a hit from this guy. $40,000, man.